please come to order. And you take roll call, please.
Wayne Clark.
Yes.
Alderman Weigel. Here. Alderman Haas.
Here.
Jerry Motter.
Here.
Jim Lozinski.
Here.
Don Niemer.
Here.
And Karen Gale is not going to make it.
Okay, we have a quorum. First item, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, please?
So moved.
Second. Are there any additions or changes? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes stand approved. First item on the agenda is the public hearing. I, Gerald Meyer, Chairman of the Community Development Authority. The notice of the hearing will now be read.
Public hearing to consider the Community Development Authority of the City of West Allis, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Programs Annual Plan. We are seeking public comment and consideration of changes to the Community Development of City of West Allis Annual Plan. Mr. Chair, what this is under this public hearing is fulfilling a federal requirement that if we make any changes to our typical annual plan that we have to post it, which we have done in the paper, and leave it open for public comment for a period of 30 days. We are coming near the end of this, and we're having the public hearing tonight as part of that federal process. The big change that's in here is we added family self-sufficiency. You might recall we partnered with Lutheran Social Services, or we contracted with them using our Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. For those who are need to develop skills or are willing to go for training, there's a way we can take some of the proceeds from Section 8 and put it into an account to save for housing in the future, so they get the same amount they're at today. So if their situation improves, that difference is put into an account and they can put it towards a house or with the Section 8 proceeds. So we started that program. We didn't have it in our previous annual plan, so we've added it, and that is the requirement of the public hearing. That will answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Patrick? If not, I see there's no people in the audience for the public hearing. Have no questions? If not, we'll close the public hearing. I now declare this public hearing closed. We'll go to item 2. Public hearing on the change of Section 8. Oh, wait, I read that one. I'll go 3, right?
Yep.
A resolution to consider approving the 2022 Public Housing Authority Annual Plan. Patrick, you have the floor.
And this is the resolution that relates to the public hearing we just had, saying we adopt the annual plan, and then we have to then submit it to HUD by November.
Move approval.
Then move approval on second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 4, resolution to consider amendment to the 2021 payment standards for the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Patrick.
Mr. Chair, we actually, with the things that have happened with COVID and changes to the rent structures, HUD released a change in the fair market rents in April. We adopted those then, and now we're doing the time period where we historically adopt the payment standard. So we're actually amending 2021, and then this amendment then carries forward into 2022. So the fair market rents, you can see where we're at. It says fair market rents 2021, what they are per unit on the left, and then we can do 110% of that payment or fair market rent as the payment standard for the Section 8 program. And then it was amended again just here a couple weeks ago. You can see $687 through $1,300. The rents went up, and we can do 110% of that. So those will go into place now through to 2022. I'll gladly answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Clark.
Thank you. How does this schedule compare to other communities in the immediate area?
We're seeing an increase in rent. Obviously, it's gone up. We're seeing it not only on the market rate, but also on these, the general rents in the community. So HUD is adjusting the fair market rent to meet those increases in the community. So in terms of how does it compare to Milwaukee and other communities, well, the adjustment is not only West Allis, this adjustment applies through the whole metro Milwaukee area. So we have to have very similar rents so individuals, when they port, they can move from West Allis to Milwaukee or Milwaukee to West Allis. We have to have similar payment standards, or else you can't do that port. So we are very similar to Milwaukee.
I'd move approval.
Second?
Go ahead.
So HUD is recommending this change?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Weigel?
Patrick, one more question. So this is HUD's perception of fair market rents for West Dallas?
Correct.
Okay. So I guess maybe what Wayne's question was, do we know what their suggested fair market rent is for our neighbors?
It's similar to this.
Similar to, I assume Tulsa's higher.
Right.
Milwaukee's maybe similar, lower. I mean, is it, so it'd be citywide in the city of Milwaukee?
Correct.
When they do that standard, they come up with some sort of citywide.
Correct.
Any other questions? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item 5, resolution to approve amendment to Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Administrative Plan. Patrick?
So for the administrative plan, that's how we operate the Section 8 program. If we make modifications to that admin plan based on HUD changes, we have to go through a resident advisory board, and then we submit a recommended changes from what their votes are on those items to the CDA for approval, and that's how we would operate. There are 4 general categories that that are the changes. I don't know if you looked at the resolutions that were attached in legislature. All these changes were attached or proposed. The first one is denial of assistance. We were actually at 3 years. Milwaukee's at 5 years. So we're increasing ours up to 5 years in terms of looking back at criminal activity. We had some people that were reporting to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee was sending them back.
No.
So
Wait a minute, I missed. So are we saying that
we are
look
currently
back,
at 3 years, and we want to go to 5 years.
or are we saying that you cannot have any criminal activity for 3 years versus 5 years?
It's not. It's
So we're
criminal
saying-
activity, not charged or anything like that. So if you've engaged in criminal activity or you've been part of it, we can by this not accept them into the program.
Okay, so this is a more stringent, standard.
Yes.
Okay.
And is that conviction?
No. You can be just found charged with it if we were going through the housing process.
Right.
And you can eliminate because you're engaged in criminal activity.
And this is automatic, or this is just a guideline?
Guideline.
So if someone's been really good on all sorts of other, and we can be very helpful to them.
Right.
They'd be a good fit in the community. We could still,
Yes.
well, and I guess honestly, it's shocking now what's passing now in the community, and no one seems to care.
Correct.
So perhaps some laws are less important.
For those who are applying for rent assistance, sometimes we are dealing with some individuals that have had some histories and some challenges in life. So eligibility, what this means is preferences are defined. When we did open enrollment, we had homeless as a preference, and this is defining that per HUD's guidelines. Homeless is that you have been registered in a homeless management information system, that you've been in contact twice with different homeless entities, and so you're in a system. You can't just say I'm homeless. So in order to get the preference. So we've modified some of the definitions of eligibility. Selection method, this is something that we want to be clearer on as operation. This is from our team. So when individuals are onto our waiting list, they'll say, my husband, my son, and me as the household. So when we call them off, and now there's 2 more children, there's this, and family composition suddenly changes from when they applied. And we want to make certain that at the time of application that we're clear on what that is. And we're restricting to the qualifying event of being called off the application. This is who you said. Now you can't go, I've had 3 more children that you didn't put on the application.
Well, if they have a child.
Well,
If they
I'm
give
just.
birth to a child, it's okay.
You're right.
But if suddenly my cousin's kids are here staying with me.
I'm taking, there might be a case where that could happen. Yes, I understand that, and they can bring the paperwork, but we want to make sure that we're clear on what a family composition is. And then the fourth one, this is for administrative efficiency. So it says minimum rent, and it says minimum rent to 0. We're recommending going to 0. So this really impacts those who have 0 income in the Section 8 program. Now we've adopted the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, so those who are at 0 income can work with our team to maybe work to improve their situation and get engaged, maybe getting a high school degree, work towards something. The administrative efficiency here is if that $50, we have to actually go get that from the individual. So if you have zero income, you can imagine the administrator, we're just chasing something it's not set up, our system's not set up for it, and so we're administrative efficiency, it's easier just to go to zero.
Are you saying that in the past you've been chasing the 50 and not even getting it?
Yes,
And it costs you $100 to send somebody to not get the $50?
correct.
Okay. Yeah.
That
makes sense.
is a summation of all the categories of the changes.
I'd move approval.
Second.
The second, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Resolution passes. We got item number 6. Resolution consider licensing support renewal with MRI Software LLC in the amount of $23,576.47 for the Section 8 Housing Voucher Program. Patrick.
Mr. Chair, what this is our Section 8 program runs on the Happy or MRI software. There's 3 elements to the subscription notice here is subscription, the assistance check program, which is a cloud-based where all our waiting lists and individuals can update information, and then there's a maintenance renewal. This is a 1-year renewal. They are trying to get us to do a 3-year commitment, and we're asking for a better quote on that. But right now, because we're meeting in October and we have to send this out in order to make sure that January 1 this is working, we're recommending the approval of the $23,576. If it comes in lower and we need future years, I'll come back to the authority to get that. But we don't have that. We have this 1-year notice at this time. We budget $27,100 in the Section 8 program. That's all the modules that go with this, etc. So we are still within the budget that we have set up for the Section 8 voucher program.
I'll second, but
Just one second. Mr. Niemer?
Is this the new program that we implemented?
This is a number of years ago. We implemented Happy software, which allows us to do more lottery systems, all on online type of waiting list reporting, etc. It's a very efficiency program.
Kiosk in or something?
Yes, well, the kiosks are separate.
Yeah, but this runs through the
This is the software that you can log into from the kiosk,
Yeah,
yes.
we tried something different
Yes,
not too long
yes.
ago.
But this is our reporting, how we report everything to HUD, everything that we keep track of, how we work with individuals. So it's essentially paperless. The only time we really get paper is when we call people off the waiting list and they have to bring in their taxes and they have to bring all their, we scan it all into the system, so.
All right. Mr. Clark?
Thanks. The current license that we're under, what are we paying?
It went up $3,000. I think we were at 21.2, and then it went up to 23, less than $3,000.
That seem reasonable?
Yes, and to make a change and go out for RFP for that amount, it would be. I mean, there are a few other modules out there, but to get that all approved by January would be hard. By next year, maybe we can start looking. But we're happy with the way MRI is working.
Thank you.
So, I know. I say Happy. Happy was the software, and then they switched to MRI, so I'm stuck in Happy.
it's a good place to be. So it's no longer happy.
Well, it's funny because some documents come with Happy on it yet, so I think they're still figuring out how they merged everything. So.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. Item number 7, resolution to consider allocating Section 8 Choice Voucher COID funds to Beloit Road Senior Housing Complex in the amount of $15,400.06 for updating the Wi-Fi services. Patrick, you have the floor.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we received around $76,000 and 2 pots of COVID funds, so it was, I think, close to $140 at the end of the day. You might recall the kiosks. We bought with those some of the COVID funds that we had. It's Section 8 COVID funds for administrating the program. So Beloit Road is a project-based property where we have a number of Section 8 individuals living, and the Wi-Fi has failed. And with COVID and people going more online with medical, doing prescriptions online, etc., we checked with HUD, and they said, yes, you could use your Section 8 admin money to update the Wi-Fi at Beloit Road. So I'm asking for tonight an allocation approval of $15,400 to improve the Wi-Fi at Beloit Road.
Mr. Clark.
Thank you. And why isn't the organization we hired to run this place paying for this?
Well, one, we have this money and we have to turn it back before the end of the year if we don't use it. Two, Beloit Road's budget is very tight in terms of operating as a facility. So this provides some relief to that issue. The group that we hired is just for managing the property. So they'd have to go out and contract somebody to do it, and we end up paying more. We're going to pay for it anyways, Beloit Road, out of the rents that are achieved from the property. So this is helping save money for Beloit Road.
Do we contract this or do this internally?
It will be contracted out by Ogden, but we're allocating the funds to the property to do it.
And is this Wi-Fi just for, or are we running maybe security cameras on this Wi-Fi system also, so it supports
Yes.
building security and all that?
Yes. And the fob system.
Alderman Gross.
Are we still responsible for maintaining this Wi-Fi? Because I know it went out about 4 years ago, and most of the stuff is up at the water tower, is my understanding. Are we still responsible for
No,
all
that was that we were trying to do that way. We've gone away from that. This is the facility itself has its own Wi-Fi system.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about. It
Yes,
was up at
we
the
were-
water tower, and
We were trying to provide free
nobody wanted to go
internet.
up there because it was so cold, and
We were trying to provide free internet to Beloit Road and access that way, but right now some have gone to get their own spectrum and things like that. But there are multiple things where this helps individuals as well as the complex.
Move approval.
Second. Been moved approval and second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution passes. Number 8, resolution amending contract with Rambo Environment for proceeding professional environmental service for the properties located at 6749 West National Avenue, which is located within the 68th and Mitchell Street redevelopment area, TIF number 14, in the amount not to exceed $21,500. Patrick?
Mr. Chairman, this amount is related to, if you recall, the parcel that you can see here, the Perfect Screw building in front. There are some environmental impacts and the soil has to be managed. And we agreed to reduce the price to help counter those environmental costs. Well, someone has to verify and contract to make sure that's done accordingly to the DNR. And so this is to have our consultant to verify. It'll probably come in cheaper than this. We just don't know how many hours that's necessary to get done. But somebody has to provide the tickets and where dirt goes, et cetera, to the DNR. And this is to get that element of that done. We are still waiting on the closing on this property for the record. SBA has the environmental documents on their desks, and we wait. I've reached out to the group that does the 504, and they've reached out to the attorney, and she said within 48 hours of last Friday that she would have her review. We have not heard anything yet. So we should anticipate closing very soon.
I move approval.
Second.
Been moved approval and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Clark, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Patrick, on something like this, whenever the final bill comes in, would you report out to us
Sure.
what that was?
Sure.
Or what that is?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to item number 9, resolution to consider submittal of a FY 2022 U.S. EPA Brownfield Community-Wide Assessment Grant application for $500,000. Patrick?
There's an opportunity for the city to apply for EPA brownfield funds. We've been successful with this in the past. The last couple of years it's been a little challenging. We haven't received any, but there's an opportunity here to apply again. You can see some of the sites that we have in consideration. I did mention the Teledyne and Coakley site. That can be used to help do environmental investigation on the site. So these are the few that we discussed that we would put into our application. There is no match requirement, and it's to do an assessment of a property. So they'll do phase 1, phase 2 site investigation.
Where's the plate engineering site?
That is by 61st right, 62nd and Beecher, or Burnham,
Burnham.
right across from
From
Unit Drop
Oh,
4.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, where they ripped it
Oh,
down.
east of Unit Drop One?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a big.
Alderman Grove, you have a question?
I'm guessing that's supposed to be 76th and Hicks?
Yeah.
That's
what it should
okay,
be.
I just,
Oh, my bad,
I'm
sorry.
going 76th and Hayes, wow, that's, like, I know the guy that lives there.
Yeah,
Right.
Nope,
Got that
not
before. I used to live
Okay,
there.
that's what I thought.
Maybe I should have put John's address up there on Hayes right there, right?
Spilled something from his chemistry stuff.
Move
You look
approval.
at chemistry again.
Has this been approved?
Yeah, Mr. Clark approved it. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
So,
Item,
so what this one is to submit the application. So the next one
This
is,
is asking for the money.
right,
right, for permission to submit an application.
right. No problem. Item 10, resolution to consider authorizing and directing the executive director to enter into a contract amendment with Rambo Environment for providing grant writing services related to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, US EPA, FY22 Brownfield grants in the amount not to exceed $4,500. Patrick.
This is a group we've worked with in the past. We have been successful in applying. They have the past application and been able to modify it, et cetera, quickly. So there's some efficiency of working with them to get this application in.
Move approval.
Second.
Been moved for approval and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Opposed? I forgot that, sorry.
So, Mr. Chairman, items 11 through 14 are in closed session.
All right.
You want to do 15?
Can we just do that in open session? Oh,
I prefer to go into closed
Okay,
session. Yeah.
then we can close the door. You want to go to item 15 or
Yeah,
hold?
we'll do 15
Okay,
quick.
we're going to go to item 15, consider relative to report on initiatives and redevelopment initiatives. Patrick.
I'm going to have Sean outline these items.
Thank you. This is just some brief updates as we run through these items. 68th and Mitchell, the former Kearney Trekker building. We are working with the Whitico Development Corporation on sort of the next steps in the process of redeveloping this into a venue, a food hall, community space, and such. And so as part of that, their next step is to put together plans, and so they've begun that process. And the other part of it is finding a lender and then different financing opportunities. We've met with the EDA about potential opportunities that way, and then we've also met with a few different lenders, one of which this caught the attention of, and so they're going to be meeting with that bank shortly. And then we also are working on the new market tax credit end of it, working through FIRE, and then hoping to attract another potential new market tax credit entity. So it's progressing nicely. The next steps that the city may see as far as agendas go and things like that are hopefully a plan commission submittal by the end of the year, and likely for like a January, February-ish, depending upon the quality of the plans when we get them. So hopefully moving forward, kind of an exciting project, and one that'll be nice to see in someone else's hands.
The CDA still owns the property.
The CDA still owns it, and yeah, exactly.
And Sean, you mentioned the EDA that you're working with. What's the EDA?
So the Economic Development Administration, it's under the Department of Commerce, the U.S. Department of
So the
Commerce.
feds.
Feds.
Okay.
We reached out to the regional representative with the developer. There are funds available. More of a broader scope might be better of an application versus one property. EDA invested, I think, $500,000 into the Milwaukee public market. And they're also looking at doing that in Madison, maybe even more. But the difference with those is those are owned by nonprofits. This is a private for-profit entity. So we're looking at a way to how to structure this that could benefit the broader area of this neighborhood. So one of the things might be is there's a parking lot that's located kind of southeast. So the parking lot's key to the Mandel project, to this, the brewery, and a connection over to the farmer's market. So maybe it's an infrastructure grant that we work on under the EDA. So we're looking at all those nuances to figure out how we can get it to fit the program. It's a political, they have double the budget than they normally have, so it's an opportunity to explore to reduce our public costs into the project, so.
And you said they put a $500,000 into the Milwaukee public market?
I believe it was that
That
amount.
would have been years ago.
Yes,
So that was at the front end of the project.
yes. They're known to put money into industrial parks. That's one thing for communities, that put in all the infrastructure, and then you sell off the lots. And then it's by RFP or a broader reach, versus like we've picked our developer already.
Yeah.
So in that case, it works, and that's the way it was outlined to us, so. But they, like I said, they do have some sizable grants that they can go as high as $7 million. But you would have to have a significant, like, research complex or something where the EDA would want to be involved in something like that, significant job creation.
70th Street, 70th and Washington, our TIF 16, much of that is our Cobalt Alice Yards redevelopment. Very good news today that closed on the financing. It's been a long road. And if you recall, the CDA and the council approved a guarantee that was, integral to getting us to this step. And, getting construction going is going to be huge. And the further along it gets, the less of a burden that guarantee becomes. So, overall, the hotel at this location, great for the downtown. And great for all the redevelopment in the area and the existing businesses. Can definitely take advantage of this, and it should draw more investment in the downtown and the surrounding area as well. So, very excited. You can see up here the ribbon cutting is on Monday.
Groundbreaking.
The groundbreaking's on Monday. I got ahead of myself.
Construction.
Yeah.
3 p.m.
The pictures from this morning.
Oh, yeah. 3 p.m. on Monday. So I hope you can attend. We did put a big list together, invited. If you don't receive an invite, please let me know. We definitely would like you there. We made sure that the CDA was on the list, Plan Commission, Fire, all the council members, elected state and fed. So we're trying to, new markets were involved. This is a federal program. We want to make certain that people are invited to this groundbreaking. It's important to the neighborhood.
Did anybody get an invite yet? Just out of curiosity. Okay, I was just checking. I didn't know if they did.
I think Wayne's got a strong filter on his
Did we invite
emails
the
or
bid?
something. I believe we're making sure that they're invited tomorrow. So
When did it go out?
I think it went out last week.
I don't believe I did. I
Okay.
won't be in town at 10.
Okay.
And they did not require an RSVP, or whatever that's worth. Sometimes they do for those, sometimes they don't.
Do you believe? I'm just taking a poll of the aldermen that are here. Are you going to be in attendance?
I'll be
I
there,
should be,
yes.
Okay.
Gotta notice it.
I just got to put a notice out for that.
Either way, guys.
6610 West Greenfield Avenue continues to progress, hoping to be open within the next few weeks. It's looking really nice inside and outside, the signage up, and they continue to plug away. We're very excited about this. Obviously, it's the old, you can see the old picture up there. It's the old Alice Chalmers payroll office that then the city came in and purchased to help sort of save the building and find it.
CDA.
The CDA purchased, and so we found a good user for it, and it's nice to see the progress. And we assisted them finding a bank, assisted with some loans, and it's a second project for an entrepreneur that invested in Capri and now is moving on to their second restaurant. So very exciting project. And
Per the email I just received an hour ago, that they plan to open in November, and they're going to have a test opening here in October.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys brought that up, and that refreshed my memory. There was a buyer who wanted to tear this down and put an oil change joint on that location.
Right.
And we actually,
Much better.
right after Chris made the offer, the dentist that opened on 71st and National gave an offer on the property as well. But
He found a spot,
we found him a spot. So,
and I know their liquor license was issued today too, which is
Great.
usually last.
For the dentist?
Yeah.
I haven't heard
Nitrous
anything
oxide
on
is
occupancy.
expensive.
I think it's in, but I haven't
We believe the occupancy's in, so.
applied for it yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure its status.
It's a nice looking building on 71st.
Did a nice job.
Yep. Demolition permit was applied for mortar castings, but we have not received the plan commission submittal that has to align with that. So it's kind of in a holding status until we get those plans. So in other words, they applied with no plans. So they have to show us when I say as built, when you tear it down, it's an as built status. Once the building's gone, what does this look like? How is it graded? Is there any landscaping? So we have to look at all that. We have not received that, and I have emailed the owner regarding that.
So Patrick, I know we had a problem on 76th and Hicks, where our building was demolished, and it took a period of time to bring it back into the presentable shape. And in that time, it was deemed that it was no longer hardscape, it was green space, and that affected issues. I just want to make sure we're not getting, this is going to develop quickly enough that we're not going to run into that. Or we're pretty
I can't
sure?
guarantee
No
that.
guarantees? Because we're going to require them to, when they're done, be, I assume, erosion-proof and dustless, right?
It'll have to be sodded or seeded in some form, or retaining walls maintained, and so that's not dust and
Right.
mud mudding up the street. So, and we'll see how the DNR reacts to.
I just hate to see the DNR say, well, it's been 3 whole weeks and you haven't done anything with it yet. Now it's on.
Well, what I mean by that, the DNR would require that it be capped. Because of the potential, I don't know, I don't
We don't
know
know
the
yet.
environmental condition of the property, but sometimes when you do demo and the DNR sees things digging up, they want to make sure that the site is capped, or they ask you to do an investigation. I'm unaware of the owner doing testing or anything.
Okay,
That's
that's
all.
it. We're going to close session. Okay.
You don't want to talk about the new condos?
I have nothing
Item
to
L.
report on that yet.
I thought somebody moved in there already. Okay. For our agendas, items 11, 12, 13, 14, the committee may convene and close session pertinent to the provision of section 19.85/1/E for the state statutes for the purpose of delivering, investing public funds whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The committee may reconvene in open session after the completion of the closed session to consider the balance of its agenda. Can I have a motion to go into closed session, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. We have to have a roll call for that.
Yeah, just before the roll call, I just want whoever, if they're listening on the cable, we won't be opening up for any action afterwards. So
You can go home.
you can go home. Catch the Brewer game.
You wanna take roll
4-2
call?
Brewers.
Yes. Wayne Clark,
Yes.
Alderman Weigel,
Here.
Alderman Haas,
Aye.
Jerry Motter,
Aye.
Jim Lozinski, Don Niemer.
Yes.
Thank you. We are now in closed session. Patrick?